field yet.
And with a runner at third, one out, the Blue Jays already down 4-0. The infield will come in. Xander Bogaerts, the batter, he struck out twice today.
Watch how Bogaerts changes his approach right now. He struck out twice. Got a guy at third base, less than 2 outs. He's going to eliminate the left side of the infield and try to hit the ball to center, right, anything to get this run in from third base.
And Mookie Betts is going to do his best to try and steal a run here. He was going on contact.
Liriano gave up 2 in the first after 2 were out, 2 in the second out, 2 in the second after 2 were out, and retired the side in order in the third and the fourth. Leadoff walk to Betts, stole, and now Bogaerts trying to add to the Red Sox lead. Boston 10 games over the 500 mark right now, the leaders in the division. Fly ball to center field, back goes Pilar. He'll run under it and make the catch, but it's plenty deep enough to score Betts to make it 5-0.
Well, Xander Bogaerts got a base hit in his only plate appearance in last night's game in extra innings to give the Red Sox the lead. Watch this pitch and where it is. It's a fastball inside, down and in. Look what he does. He stays inside the ball, thinking about driving it to center, and he picks up the sac fly. I mean, that's just a terrific professional at bat by a young hitter. And it is all set up by the walk, the stolen base. Pedroia does his part, moving Betts from second to third, and Bogaerts cashes it in. That's how you manufacture runs.
And you're going to have to manufacture runs in the playoffs against good pitching. What if he tries to roll over on that inside pitch? Ground ball to third baseman.
The location of the pitch suggests you have to pull that, but the approach by Bogaerts allowed him to pick up the sacrifice fly.
So now in this series, this is the second game of the series, the Red Sox have scored 12 runs, none of them on homers. The Blue Jays have scored 4 runs, all of them on homers. Now the moral of the story is not that home runs are bad. Home runs are good, but the Red Sox, like some other teams, they have the ability to beat you in a number of different ways offensively.
And you're not going to hit home runs all season long, you know, and be successful.
Hanley's up there trying to hit home runs a lot, though. He's swinging hard, and he's got 3 doubles already in the first 2 games.
You see Bogaerts talking with the assistant hitting coach, Victor Rodriguez, and they spent a lot of time together talking about approaches. And last night, when Bogaerts knew he was going to get an at-bat, Victor Rodriguez says, don't be surprised if they walk you. He goes, what? He said, I'm 1 for 7. They won't walk me. He said, just be ready for anything. And then he got that base hit to the right side. But a lot of communication between the coaching staff, the players, as far as how they're going to approach each particular at bat.
Victor Rodriguez is an excellent hitting coach.
1-2 the count on Ramirez. And a base hit into left field, and Hanley stays hot. That is his 4th hit in 9 at bats now in the first 2 games.
What was he saying about left-handed pitching? That he was having trouble hitting left-handed pitching?
He didn't know he was having trouble. He says, well, watch now. He was hitting 141 against lefties, and he said, I'm supposed to crush left-handed pitching. And he said, I'll be better at it. And he certainly got his attention.
So 5-0 Boston. Runner at first, 2 down. Jackie Bradley Jr. is 1 for 2. Big swing and a fly ball. Pilar back now over to his left, makes the catch, and that's the inning. 1 more run, though, for the Red Sox as they stretch out this lead. 5-0 going bottom 5. His 150th birthday. Ace is out there dressed as a Mountie, of course, and they bring the cake in.
To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Antlers, Tabby.
Those are antlers. All right, Junior.
5-0 Red Sox over the Blue Jays bottom 5 here on Canada Day. Darwin Barney leads it off. Barney, Goins, and Bautista against Chris Sale. The Blue Jays have 2 hits through the first 4 innings. Sales walked 1, hit 1, and struck out 8. And there have been a lot of 0-2 counts here this afternoon.
Yeah, and you know he came to the mound with this kind of approach, and obviously coming to the game 10-3, you feel pretty good about the way you pitched, but he was very focused from the first pitch of this game.
Couple of other early games here on this Saturday. Detroit's up 4-1 on Cleveland, end of the 5th. White Sox lead Texas 2-1 in the 2nd. Barney sends a fly ball to left center, but Young is there.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Flags and caps and antlers and everything else. That is Canada on display at Rogers Center this afternoon. Here's Ryan Goins, called out on strikes his first time up.
You know, we've been talking about the strikeouts from Chris Sale. He came into this game with 155. He's got this start and probably one more before the All-Star break. The team record for most strikeouts by a Red Sox pitcher before the All-Star break, Roger Clemens, 186. He did that in 1988. Pedro Martinez had 184 before the All-Star break. As good as Chris Sale has been, he now has what, 163? He's not even going to come close to that, is he?
164. Let's get an update with Jamie. John Farrell today, not a baseball manager, he's a dad right now and trying to stay incognito, I'm sure, in Kansas City.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. Gary DeSarcina, the bench coach, is the acting manager for Boston today. But that is very difficult to sit there as a baseball guy and not have any impact in the game that's going on.
Says he wasn't even going to buy a ticket. They asked him if they wanted to sit in a suite, and he goes, "There's absolutely no way I'm sitting in a suite. I'm going to be walking around because I'm going to be too nervous." Just showed him his pass, walked in, and he's just going to walk around.
Pace.
Yeah, the stadium.
Yep. Different kind of pace here by Chris Sale, not just the stuff, but man, catch the ball, get the sign, throw the ball.
And another inning where he has mixed his velocities totally. That last pitch, 95 miles an hour, the hardest fastball he's thrown this inning. But it's back and forth, in and out. There's a off-speed pitch that takes the sting out of Bautista's bat.
And he gets the Blue Jays in order at the end of 5. Sale in command. Red Sox having fun here at Rogers Center.
Car's Canadian Showcase returns with hometown hero James Hinchcliffe looking for the top spot on the podium. The Honda Indy, Toronto, July 16th on Sportsnet 360 at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time.
Thank you, Hazel. Sixth inning now here at Rogers Center. The roof is just about closed with the threat of weather coming in. Francisco Liriano was back on the mound for the Blue Jays here on this Canada Day holiday. Last year on Canada Day, which was a Friday, the Blue Jays played the Cleveland Indians and lost 2-1 in 19 innings. That was the game where both Darwin Varney and Ryan Goins pitched in the game, and the Goins wound up going on the DL after that. The Blue Jays overall on Canada Day at home in their history are 12-15.
One of the reporters today asked John Gibbons, do you have any Canada Day memories? And he thought for a minute, and somebody reminded him about that 19-inning game. And what did he have to say?
Well, he got tossed out of the game early.
He remembers listening to it, watching it on his couch in his office.
He got thrown out in the first inning of the game that went 19. And then he went into the office and lay on the couch and had to listen to us for 18 innings.
He enjoyed that day. I guess if you want to call that enjoyed that day. He spent that day with Edwin Encarnacion, who got thrown, and Russell Martin, who got thrown out later in the game.
Martin got thrown out in the 13th. That was Vic Carapazza was at the plate in that game, and there were a lot of issues with the strike zone from the Blue Jays side of the field. Travis with a bouncing ball to second. Flip to one, on to first in time. Double play.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by the Samsung QLED, the next innovation in TV.
So 2 down in the inning, and if nothing else, the way it started, Francisco Liriano has gotten the Blue Jays into the 6th inning. He's in 94 pitches right now. Lucas Harrell, who was just brought up to the big leagues from AAA Buffalo today, he has been up in the bullpen. The first couple of innings, it looked like this might be a really short one for Liriano, and that would have been a huge problem for them given how many relievers pitched in last night's game.
Like all of them?
Yes.
So they got a fresh arm down there now, and Harrell, he's throwing.
Harrell, who has not pitched in the big leagues as a Blue Jay, most of his major league time spent with Houston.
32 years old, and he signed originally with the White Sox. He spent 4 seasons with the Astros. Made 59 starts pitching in Houston. And that was his role in AAA Buffalo, so he's got the ability to give you multiple innings.
1-2, the count on the catcher, Sandy Leon. Popped up shallow center. Gonna drop. Good effort by Goins, but beyond his reach for a base hit.
Well, he had him set up for that pitch on the inside part of the plate and actually got it where he wanted it. But Leon finds just enough of the barrel to get it out of the reach of Goins. Ryan had a great attempt at that ball. Turn your back to the infield, run as hard as you can, try and pick up the baseball. You just can't get to it. Hit number 7 this afternoon for the Red Sox.
One of the earlier hits belonging to this man, Devin Marrero, who singled and scored back in the 2nd. Talked about the third base situation for the Red Sox a little bit last night. They've had 5 or 6 different guys play there, including Pablo Sandoval, who did not perform well, then got hurt and is now rehabbing at AAA Pawtucket. They've signed Johnny Peralta. Liner to first, caught by Smoke, and that's the inning. So Liriano gets through 6. Blue Jays coming up bottom 6, trailing 5-0. Russell Martin performing here on Canada Day, second among active Canadians in home runs behind Joey Votto, who's got 244. The all-time leader in home runs amongst Canadians in the major leagues is Larry Walker, 383. Of course, Votto's been an MVP. Justin Morneau has been an MVP. Fergie Jenkins from the pitching side in the Hall of Fame, native of Chatham, Ontario.
Fergie had 284 wins. He made 594 starts in his career. Terrific pitcher.
And I think he has more than 3,000 strikeouts and fewer than 1,000 walks, and just great overall numbers, right?
997 walks and 3,192 strikeouts. Control. You ever hit against Fergie?
I played with him as a teammate in
Chicago.
When I was with Chicago, when I came up, it was at the end of his career. I played a I don't want to call it a fantasy game or a fantasy camp game, but there was a game against some campers in Columbus just a few years ago, and Fergie pitched. What a joy to play behind him, even now. I mean, he had that classic windup still and threw his slider and the whole thing. And the campers, and they were legitimate players. I mean, they were guys who had played some Roy Hobbs baseball, which is hardball for older people. And he was just mowing them down. What a pleasure to play behind him. Threw a lot of strikes.
Did he come up and in on anybody, move their feet at all? Or?
Of course.
Oh, he could do that.
Keep you honest?
I got a couple of seams from Fergie Jenkins on my arm.
Did you do something to deserve them?
Yeah, probably. But he was a terrific guy, great ambassador for the game. He had 13 home runs, too. He had pretty good bat. And one year he hit 243 with 6 home runs and drove in 20 runs. He was a terrific athlete, 6'5". He was
big guy.
Had a great body for a pitcher.
2-2 on Russell Martin leading off the inning. Russ is 0 for 2 today. Wow. And that got him. Second hit batter today, both on sliders.
Going for the punch out again with 2 strikes, and he just holds on to that ball just a little bit too hard. You see Sale shaking his head just a little bit there. Slider down and in. Russell gets it right on that back leg.
So the leadoff man aboard for the Blue Jays here in the 6th inning, down 5-0, being out hit 7-2. And here's Josh Donaldson, 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts. Buck, you talked about changing speeds. There's another one. Looked like maybe a cut fastball there at 87.
Nah, I just think he takes something off the fastball and gets a little extra movement, doesn't try to overpower it. He's just got the confidence to go back and forth on velocity. And then the next pitch, 93. I mean, that is the toughest situation for any hitter. I don't care how good you are. When you've got a pitcher that goes 87, 93, 90, back to 82, 79, you just never, ever feel comfortable and that your timing is going to be on time. And that's the entire definition of pitching, man. Disrupt the timing of the hitter.
And if it's in the 70s or some of those pitches are in the 80s.
Foul.
And then he dials it up. Even the 93 or 94, it looks fast. Everything looks fast.
I used to do Pedro Martinez games, and I would chart the velocity of every pitch, and he never threw the same velocity in an inning. Everything was different, every single pitch. And it's just impossible for hitters to have good swings against that type of pitcher.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out Donaldson for the 3rd time today.
At 97, maybe his best fastball of the day here in the 6th inning.
3rd time that he's gotten Josh, and that's exactly what I mean. And it looks like it's got a little more to it. It's got an extra gear to it when he dials it up with 2 strikes after it's 79. Josh has something to say for Jusale.
Illegal pitch. He's tough, man. And you know what, hitters will tell you that.
That's the 11th time this year now in 16 starts that he has struck out 10 or more.
You know, I think the biggest thing that we should remember about Chris Sale is he is confident to throw the ball in the strike zone. And that is the epitome of pitching. You've got to be able to command the strike zone. And by that, make quality pitches in the strike zone. And he does that consistently.
Smoke hits it hard to deep left field, off the wall on the fly, bounces back in toward the infield. It'll be a double for Smoke. Martin to third. Smoke now 2 for 3 off Sale.
Came into the ball game 2 for 10 off Sale, but the 2 for 3 just reflects how well he's been swinging the bat all season long.
381 against lefty pitching this year with 5 of his home runs, and he almost got number 6. Climbs on that first pitch, hits it to the base of the wall. Young got a little bit too close to that ball, and it ricocheted away from him. That allowed Martin to go first to third on that double. Smoke looks so confident at the plate.
Continues to put great swings on the ball on his way to Miami. The All-Star teams, by the way, will officially be announced tomorrow night, starters and reserves, and clearly Justin Smoke's name is going to come up at some point. Here's Troy Tulowitzki trying to get the Blue Jays on the board here. Had a base hit his last time up. So he's got 1 hit. Smoke's got the other 2. Slider for a strike. Sale at 95 pitches as he works with a 1 out here in the 6th inning. 67 strikes, 28 balls. Sale's got it. Martin has to go back to third, 2 down. Helps being 6'6" sometimes.
With long reach, infield was playing back. They were going to concede a run, but Sale gets off that mound. There's the reach. Martin had taken a few steps towards home, and then luckily puts the brakes on with that great play by Sale.
Yeah, the infielder was going to concede a run, but Sale wasn't. He took a peek at Russell Martin right away and said, "You just stay right there, Mr. Martin."
There's Steve Pearce. Hit by a pitch and is struck out.
And you notice what Sale did after the Smoke double. Got the ball, throwed the rubber, and said, "Let's go to work." And he just comes right at you. He never, ever gives you the feeling that the hitters have the advantage. He's in control. You know, we talked about his delivery early on, and it's unorthodox, and there's a lot of things that pitching coaches might want to clean up. But when you draft a kid that's been pitching like this all his whole life, why would you tinker with it unless there's a problem? Unless it creates some sort of concern with the injury. But this is his natural delivery. And you know what? It's an asset. It's a difficult delivery for hitters to pick up the baseball from, and the release point is very difficult.
You start tinkering with that, you might hurt them. Say, well, hey, you don't get on, or whatever your reason for doing that. There's no reason to change anything.
Well, we heard that with Corey Dickerson earlier in the year when Tampa Bay was here. Corey said that when he was in high school and college, he had a wide batting stance, almost filled up the whole batting box. And the coaches told him in Colorado, "Hey, you can't hit like that in professional baseball." Well, he's gone back to that wide stance, and he's hitting his way onto the All-Star team.
2-1. Slider for a strike. 2-2 now on Pearce. The 100th pitch of the day thrown by Chris Sale. Second and third, 2 down. Blue Jays looking to get on the board if they can here in the 6th inning.
Another 97. That's the thing that allows him to pitch so deep into the game. He doesn't use 97 from the first inning on. He saves it for pivotal pitches and at bats. When he needs it after a breaking ball, he comes back and beats Pearce upstairs at 97. If you tried to throw 97 from the first pitch on, you'd be out of gas in the 3rd inning.
2-2 again. Justin Verlander, a guy often in his career has been like that. Starts off not so much now as earlier in his career, but starts off at 92 and then gets a big strikeout in the 7th at 98.
He did that here in his no-hitter. He was throwing 100 in the 7th and 8th inning and had that great at bat against J.P. Arencibia, where Arencibia walked and broke up his perfect game. Just got stronger and his delivery got tighter as the game went on.
And for the second time this inning, Sale and Leon going to talk it over.
There's the tuck. Everything is together.
See where his momentum is going? It's going directly to home plate. That's how he gets everything into it. And he might not be the strongest guy physically, but because his entire body is going toward home, he can generate 97 with that fastball.
He keeps pumping that fastball in now to Pierce. He might have him set up for that slider.
Nobody up in the Red Sox pen. Normally at 100 pitches you automatically see the bullpen going, but this is Chris Sale. They got a lot of faith in him. He's pitched deep into games. They've got a 5-run lead. And he gets a pop-up. That will end the inning. Best chance thus far for the Blue Jays, but Sale gets out of it. Runs in the first 2 innings got the Blue Jays through 6, allowing 1 more run. The overall outing, 5 earned runs in 6 innings. He walked 3. All 3 were Mookie Betts, and all 3 times, guys, Betts came around to score.
Yeah, and the way that Liriano kind of settled down, you say, okay, well, that's not a bad outing, but once again, 5 earned runs. That's pushed his ERA to 5.66. And now Lucas Harrell is going to make his season debut with the Blue Jays.
He was signed this past January as a free agent by the Blue Jays. We saw him in spring training. His last appearance in the big league was last August when he was with Texas. He was signed as some insurance and some backup to the starting rotation. He was starting down in Buffalo. He's working on 3 days rest, so he can give him multiple innings this afternoon.
Lucas Harrell and Chris Sale were teammates in 2010 with the Chicago White Sox. Sale was a 21-year-old at that point, and Lucas was 25. They both pitched about 24-25 innings that season for Chicago.
The timing was kind of interesting. We were in John Gibbons' office for the daily media scrum. 12 or 15 members of the media along with Gibby, and Lucas Harrell got into the ballpark at that time, walked down the hall. We didn't know any of this because we're sitting in the office. Just kind of poked his head in the office and just kind of stood there for a while smiling until Gibby noticed him. And hey, Skip. Hey, Lucas, welcome back. You know.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
You might be in there today.
Yep.
Well, all you got to do is pay attention to the box score last night, and you get called up to big leagues, and you have a pretty good idea you're going to be in there. And you can see 3-0, and that something John Gibbons has seen all too often the last couple of nights. Blue Jays pitchers pitching from behind. 14 walks last night. 3 more walks this afternoon.
Got the call about 1 o'clock in the morning because last night's ball game was so late. Blue Jays deciding that they needed a fresher arm for this afternoon's ball game, just in case.
Charged by Barney at third. Short hop. Got it. Good play.
Happy 150th to our home and native land. Honda, proudly driving Canadians since 1973.
Happy Canada Day to you and yours, wherever you may be across this great country, indoors or outdoors. Lucas Harrell becoming the 24th pitcher for the Blue Jays this year. 24th different guy to take the mound for the Blue Jays. That is 4th highest in the majors. Seattle has used 31. It's hard to conceive that. 31 different pitchers in the first half of the season.
Last year, I believe the average number of starting pitchers for a major league team was 12. You're just not asking the starters to extend their outings, and you know what, if it doesn't work, they just pull the plug on one guy and bring somebody else in. But I think overall the consistency of the starting pitching has been inconsistent at best.
Seattle's had a run of injuries to their pitching staff over the last couple of years. They set a record last year for most pitchers used, and they've already blown by that here the first half.
They're kind of hanging around. They're a game under 500. Starting to get healthier, trying to compete in the wild card race. Curveball stays just a little high to Dustin Pedroia. Pedroia today flied out and a 2-run double, and is also grounded out. So he's got 4 RBIs so far in this series. Had a 2-run double last night as well.
I saw Dustin early this morning looking at video. I hollered across the hallway, "You don't need to look at video." I said, "You always hit well in this ballpark."
Just got under it. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Nice pregame ceremony here on Canada Day. Former Blue Jay David Price exchanging pleasantries with Coach Tim Leeper before the game as the lineup cards were exchanged. But once the game got going, the story has been Chris Sale. 6 shutout innings, and the Red Sox leading 5-0 top 7.
It looks like he's going to be coming back out. No action in the pen for the Red Sox.
Now, Blue Jays, they don't have another off day until the All-Star break, so they got to save all the innings they can and try to get that bullpen sorted out down there. Give them some rest, let them regroup a little bit. After the game tomorrow, they're going to New York to play a night game and 2 day games against the Yankees.
And then home to Houston. That's never easy.
Houston 54-27. They lead the West by 13.5 games. They are tied with the Dodgers for the most wins in baseball. Dodgers are 54-28. Houston 54-27. And the Astros, if you think about the advantage coming here on the road, they're 29-9 on the road.
Sent foul. Bogaerts today, a couple of strikeouts and a sac fly for his 37th RBI on the season. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Red Sox. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Blue Jays. Boston has left 4. The Blue Jays have left 6 men on. Change up there from Harrell, and Bogaerts out in front. One of the areas where Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins tried to improve the depth of the organization in the offseason was pitchers who had been in the majors before that they could have at Buffalo in case there was a need, and there's always a need. So this is the kind of role that they envisioned when they acquired Harrell, and he strikes out Bogaerts for a 1-2-3 inning. 7th inning stretch, 5-0 Red Sox.
Series here at Rogers Center after the Red Sox leave town. The Blue Jays host the Astros, A's, Angels. Don't forget, for tickets, visit BlueJays.com. Earlier today, I asked John Gibbons what it's like to be the manager of Canada's only big league team. Gibbons said, quote, "Honestly, it's truly an honor. I don't look good in red, but happy to wear it to celebrate Canada." Dan Gibby said he actually has a lot in common with Canadians, good-looking and highly intelligent.
He's always good for a quote that'll surprise you every now and again. He looks just fine in it.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
Yeah. Man, Hazel can get answers out of people that we just can't get.
That was very strong work by Hazel.
Here's Kevin Pillar. High drive, pretty well hit to deep right center field, but Bradley's got room.
Does he make it look easy out there in center field?
So Chris Sale pitches into the 7th inning. He's thrown 106 pitches. His season high is 115.
I think when you talk pitch count, you have to think about the stress nature of each pitch, and he hasn't had too many stressful pitches all afternoon. Very comfortable. And, you know, Gary DiSarcina is the acting manager today with Farrell being in Kansas City. And he'll have a conversation with Carl Willis, the pitching coach, and say, "What do you think?" I think we should sit right here and watch Chris Sale pitch.
He had some stressful pitches last inning where he had to try and dial it up to get out of that inning. But he's facing the bottom 3. They might push him just for one more inning and then bring in a fresh arm to face the top of the lineup if he gets through this inning.
Sale's in line for his 11th win. He is 11-3. There's Carl Willis talking about the lineup for the Blue Jays, where they are, where they will be next inning, and who they might utilize to pitch that inning against the Blue Jays lineup. Obviously 5-0. You don't want to concede anything in the major leagues, especially in this division, but Carl Willis is talking with the acting manager Gary DiSarcina about their options. The Red Sox, like the Blue Jays, don't have any off days. They will have played 17 straight games by the time they get the All-Star break.
Darwin Barney, right center. Bradley again as he and Betts crisscross in front of one another.
You know, having Chris Sale on the mound today, we're not sure if Craig Kimbrell is available today. He's pitched a couple of days in a row, so I think that's part of the discussion going on down in that dugout also, is who's able to finish off this game. Can we give him a couple of innings? If he can get through this inning, then he'll have to cover 2.
Yeah, they will go from here in Toronto down to Texas to play a 3-game series against the Rangers. Porcello, Price, and Pfister, the scheduled pitchers in that game.
Rowan's with a soft liner in the left for a base hit. 4th hit of the day for the Blue Jays.
Now there's that approach we were talking about. You stay on the ball, try to hit it the opposite way against Chris Sale. That's the best way to approach him if you're a left-handed batter, and that keeps you on the ball. And yeah, he didn't hit it hard, but he hit it effectively.
Let him off with a breaking ball down and away. Ryan stays on this one. Just punches it out into left field for a hit.
So back to the top of the order, Jose Bautista, who's 0 for 2 with a walk today.
The Red Sox finished up the first half of the season prior to the All-Star game with a 4-game series against the Rays in St. Pete before the All-Star break. This is the second game of 10 on the road to wrap up the first half for Boston.
And the Blue Jays will see the Red Sox shortly after the All-Star break as well. A 4-game series at Fenway. A Monday through Thursday series just after the All-Star break. First time the Blue Jays will be in Boston all season. The 2-1. Big swing and a miss, and that a change up there at 86.
That's a change up right there. He had Jose out in front on that one. Talking about stressful pitches, this could be a stressful at bat for Chris Sale. So he takes a little something off of that one to get strike 2.
Got him. Fastball inside corner for strikeout number 11. Freezing Bautista to end the inning. 5-0 Red Sox, end of 7. Contest is on now. Enter for your chance to cheer on the Jays in New York City with WestJet. Go to bluejays.com/WestJet contest to enter. Packed house, WestJet flight deck, all decorated for Canada Day. Score notwithstanding, folks having fun out there. Red Sox leading the Blue Jays 5-0 going to the top of the 8th inning. Lucas Harrell back on the mound for his second inning out of the bullpen for the Jays. And Hanley Ramirez will lead it off for Boston. 2 for 3, including a double and a run scored back in the first. Boston got 2 in the first and 2 more in the second. And a broken bat, little soft liner going to drop into center field. A base hit for Ramirez, now 3 for 4. The 5th hit in 2 games for Hanley Ramirez in this series.
Now he's hit a couple of balls hard. That one obviously broke his bat, but he'll take it as he's trying to climb his way up to 250. Actually, with 3 hits today, he is inched over the 250 mark, batting 253 now.
And the batter will be Jackie Bradley Jr. Had a 2-run double in the first down the left field line. That was against Francisco Liriano. And the Blue Jays again will put the shift on. 3 on the right side.
pitch him inside if you're going to do that. You want to put guys, 3 guys on the right side and put that third baseman at shortstop, because he can poke that ball the other way.
RBIs number 34 and 35 for Bradley on the season. 3-0.
Harold has started down in the minor leagues, so he's stretched out. His best season came in 2012 when he was with Houston. He won 11 games for the Astros that year, made 32 starts. Coming into this season, he's made 71 career starts, 97 ball games, so this is nothing new for him. Pitched last year with Texas in a couple of games.
Popped up left side. Tulowitzki is there, and he'll make the play, 1 down. Blue Jays and Red Sox are back at it tomorrow afternoon. Another left-hander for the Red Sox. Drew Pomeranz will be on the mound. Joe Biagini will get the start for the Blue Jays. There's Big Joe.
And some speculation that might be his last start with Aaron Sanchez on the horizon making his return to the starting rotation. You know, you look at Biagini's record and you say, well, he hasn't really pitched all that well as a starter, but he hasn't got an awful lot of run support. I think down the road, that's probably where he's going to end up as a starter. But with Sanchez comes back and is healthy, the most logical move seems to be to put Biagini back in the bullpen second half of the season.
Here's a bullet into left center off the bat of Young. Rounding second on his way to third is Ramirez, and a long single.
Second inning for Lucas Harrell. He had a 1-2-3 7th inning, got a single, a pop-up, and now this pitch to Young. Chris Young, a successful at bat right here as he drives that ball to left field. Doesn't try and pop that ball up, tries to stay through it, gets himself a line drive, and the Red Sox are threatening again.
For Sam Travis, who grounded into a double play his last time up. He's 0 for 3 on the afternoon. First and third, 1 out, top 8, and a 5-0 lead for Boston. Red Sox at 45 and 35, a game ahead of the Yankees, 4 ahead of Tampa Bay. Orioles 5.5 back, Blue Jays 7.5 back. 2 other divisions entering play today, the American League Central and the National League Central, are also separated by 7.5 games, top to bottom. So when you start to think about who could be buyers, who could be sellers, especially in the American League, even if you're not doing particularly well, you're not that far out of it right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the benefit of having 2 wild cards. So there are 2 extra spots for the postseason, and everybody's still in it, if you will. And you look at trying to determine, you know, top to bottom, Milwaukee to Cincinnati, 7.5 games, as you mentioned. And, you know, there's only one team in that Central Division over 500. That's the Brewers at 43 and 39. The same can be said about the American League Central.
I think everybody's just waiting for the Cubs, as that wild pitch will move Young to second base. Handley had some thoughts of maybe scoring from third base. It's a hard curveball from Harold. Russell gets on it. You can see Ramirez coming down the line. So no chance for a double play, and the infield's got to come in again.
With a count now 2-2 on Travis. Bouncing ball. Tulowitzki's got it, and they'll get the out at first. Ramirez never made a go for home even once the ball got over the mound.
Yeah, he's got to score on that ball. When you take an infielder and take him so far out of his position to have him field the ball, Ramirez has got to break on that ball. He probably froze because it bounced over the mound, but it cleared the mound in plenty of room. And once Tulowitzki made the play, he had only one play, and that was to first.
Watch the runner at second base. He thought he was going. Ramirez doesn't move. You'll get a sign from the third baseman, hey, go on the ground. But Hanley didn't move at all. And the Red Sox are lucky they didn't get that back runner also.
So 2 down for Sandy Leon, 1 for 3. Harold trying to get out of a jam here and keep it at a 5-run deficit. Ooh. Off the glove, got a play at the plate, and Hanley's out. Fortunate bounce for the Blue Jays after that errant pitch. And they could afford to smile about it right now as Harrell and Martin combine to get the out at the plate. Boy, strange inning on a couple of occasions. Big bounce to Martin, back to Harrell. Inning over. Time now for an update again. Jamie Campbell, Greg Zaun in the Samsung broadcast studio.
And another 4.
Goes to the bottom of the 8th, only 4 hits allowed and 11 strikeouts for the major league leader.
He does it again, double strikeouts. We've been talking about Chris Sale, what makes him so tough. This is his fastball. This is basically what the hitter is looking at, and the slider. Both of them come out the same arm angle. But watch together the different paths that the ball takes on the overlay. One's a fastball, one's a slider, and you've got to figure out that that is tough to either pick up the baseball and then try and hit it squarely.
And they came out of the identical release points, and that's a real challenge for the hitters to make the recognition, you know, within a foot of his release. Hard to do.
And then again, we've said it all day. Then he changes speeds with it, the velocities, making it even tougher. Blaine Boyer, for the second time in this series, will take over here in the 8th inning. 1-1, 237 earned run average. Boyer pitched in last night's game and was very effective. 2 innings, gave up a hit and had a strikeout.
Ooh. And the fastball runs up and in and hits Martin. And very fortunate that he appears unharmed.
That got him in the helmet, and the training staff, Jeff Stevenson's going to go out and check with him. And anytime a player gets hit up around the head, you want to make sure he's okay before he continues. But Martin looked like more of a glancing blow than anything else, and you can see him talking to John Gibbons about it. He's kind of bailed out, and he said, I feel okay. It just kind of skipped off my helmet, and he's fortunate that that ball didn't hit him flush.
Right off the top. Glancing blow. Yeah, you never like to see that. Third time this afternoon that the Blue Jays have been hit. Second time for Russell.
An inch or two lower, and that one hits him square instead of glancing off the top of the helmet.
Well, and the good thing too, Russell turned the appropriate direction. He turned his back, and because of that, the back of his helmet was where that ball hit. And if he opens up on it, no telling what happens. But he's okay at first base.
So Josh Donaldson comes up. He didn't have any fun at all with Chris Sale today. Struck out on all 3 at bats. It's the 4th time in 8 innings today the Blue Jays have had the leadoff man on. None of them via a hit. Once a walk and 3 times a hit batter. Best chance for the Blue Jays was in the 6th inning. At second and third, 1 out, couldn't score, and Donaldson is betwixt and between right now. It's 0-2.
Yeah, a couple of very tentative swings. He tried to check that last swing, and he's quickly behind 0-2.
In swing mode. It's like he wants to swing his way out of this.
Strike 3 called, and that's strikeout number 4 for Donaldson today.
Chris Sale gave him a steady diet of mixing his pitches so effectively, and after 2 check swings on the first 2 fastballs, he takes a fastball right at the top of the zone for strike 3. And just one of those days for Josh Donaldson.
Been one of those days in a positive sense for Justin Smoak. Blue Jays haven't had a lot going on offensively, but Smoak has 2 of their 4 hits. He has singled and doubled, and both were hard hit balls off Chris Sale. Not the average back over 300.
Flip around to the left side. A little bit more power from this side where he can elevate the ball.
Boyer got the win in last night's game through 26 pitches in his 2 innings of work. Red Sox bullpen has been awfully good. They've allowed only 2 runs in their last 17 2/3 innings as a group coming into this game today. Slower breaking ball there, and it's 0-2. Martin at first with 1 out, bottom 8. Upstairs. Three on the right side of the diamond for the Red Sox. Playing a double play depth on the right side, hoping to turn 2 if Smoak hits a ground ball. Outfielders shading Smoak around to the opposite field. Bradley well over to left center.
You know, you look at Smoak's batting average, and it's up over 300 as we speak. He's got the 22 home runs. He's got 10 doubles, a triple, and 52 RBIs. Those are great numbers to take the All-Star game with you. And you think about it, at the start of play today, there were only 25 300 hitters in all of baseball. And, you know, everybody throws 300 around like it's an easy get, but it's an accomplishment in this day and age to hit 300 in the big leagues.
We had that stat last week. Switch hitters who went into the All-Star break, 320 home runs. There's only been 3 of them in the history of the game. Mickey Mantle being one of them. Justin Smoak trying to be the 4th. Carl Everett was on that list also.
He's 2nd in the American League in slugging percentage entering play today. Aaron Judge about 100 points in front of him. He's lapping the field right now. Been a great first half for Justin Smoak.
Speaking of Aaron Judge, before it gets away, did you see they walked him yesterday in a 1-run game with nobody on?
Right. Yeah. Rick Renteria put him on base in a 1-run game. He said, I'm not taking any chances.
An intentional walk.
Getting that Barry Bonds treatment
Yes.
that Bonds used to get.
I don't blame him.
And it paid off, right? They got Didi Gregorius, I think, was the next batter.
Yeah, Gregorius grounded out the Indian.
The battle continues between Boyer and Smoke.
Here you mentioned Smoke. He is 5th in the major leagues in slugging percentage at .589. Judge, Cody Bellinger, Ryan Zimmerman, Joey Votto, and then Justin Smoke. He's ahead of Paul Goldschmidt of the Diamondbacks. So what he is doing, he's really established himself as one of the big producers in the majors this season.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Martin the lead. And foul it off, and Smoke fouled that off his foot or his leg. You could hear him. The pain that he went through after that happened. He's going to try to walk it off right now. It's somewhere down on that right foot.
It's got that shin guard, but I don't think it hit the shin guard. Shin guard, and it covers over the shoe also. Let's see, slider down and in. Yeah, looks like it did go off the shin guard.
Yeah, it's a very thin protective shin guard there. He's going to regroup a little bit and said, hey man, you got to work a little bit better than that. Did you ever wear a shin guard?
Yes.
You did?
Yes. I found a ball off my foot one time and couldn't walk.
Yeah. That
Night I couldn't walk, so I had to wear a shin guard for about 3 or 4 days.
I never did. Never hit the ball hard enough to hurt.
It's not as uncomfortable as you think. I mean, you don't even know you're wearing it.
Don't even notice it, yeah.
But it feels good after you foul one off of your leg.
So it remains 2-2. Boyer and Smoke. 5-0 Red Sox. As the Blue Jays bat in the bottom of the 8th. Another foul ball.
Smoke does such a good job this season as he gets 2 strikes. He just doesn't want to give anything away. And in past seasons with the Blue Jays, you bounce a breaking ball up there, he's liable to swing at it for strike 3.
Yeah, it was either high fastball around the neck or a breaking ball down in the dirt. This year, much more patience. Has a plan every time he goes up there, and he's not panicking.
Sky high pop up into shallow center field. Pedroia back. And makes the catch for out number 2, giving us a chance to preview tomorrow a little bit. The Blue Jays will see another left-hander, but a much different kind of lefty than they saw today in Chris Sale. It'll be Drew Pomeranz on the mound for the Red Sox. Joe Biagini for the Blue Jays.
Pomeranz 0-1 in his career, just 8 2/3 innings against the Blue Jays, and Joe Biagini, he's 1-1 against Boston. Pomeranz coming off of 5 strong innings last time out. No runs over 5 innings and 7 strikeouts.
Talking to the Red Sox people, they were saying Pomeranz, he's been influenced a little bit by Chris Sale, that he's picked up the pace just a little bit on the mound.
Tulowitzki pops one up in foul territory, and Travis has room to make the catch and end the inning. Second time today he's made a catch and a pop-up right in front of his own dugout. Doesn't have far to go. End of 8, and it remains the Red Sox 5 and the Blue Jays nothing.
Presented by the all-new 2017 Honda Rebel. Live your life. Love your ride.
Red Sox got out of the gates quickly today. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, added another in the fifth, and lead 5-0 going to the top of the ninth inning here on Canada Day. Sellout crowd of 46,672, the 8th sellout of the season for the Blue Jays, but have not had as much to cheer about as they would have liked this afternoon on this holiday. Third inning in relief for Lucas Harrell as he's back out there for the ninth inning to face Sandy León, Devin Marrero, and Mookie Betts. León today 1 for 3. He was at the plate when Hanley Ramirez was tagged out at home trying to score on a ball that glanced off the mid of Russell Martin and went to the backstop. Blue Jays though got a big bounce, so Martin was able to play it back to Harrell in time. So here's León again to begin the ninth. Harrell just brought to the big leagues today, and Parmley, the outfielder, was designated for assignment to make room for Harrell. Blue Jays in need of an arm after all 7 relievers pitched last night. That one hit hard and past Goins into right center field, a base hit for León.
And didn't come up for Ryan. Normally we see him make that play as he dove for that ball. It looked like it stayed down once it hit the turf. You're almost surprised when Ryan doesn't come up with those kind of great plays. There's the action, the dive, and you can see how that ball stayed down once it hit the turf. So León's got a 2-hit afternoon.
There's Devin Marrero 1 for 3, hitting in the 9 spot, the third baseman for the Red Sox. And a weak ground ball towards third. Barney charging. Wide throw sails past Smoke down the line, and both runners will advance. They're at second and third with nobody out.
Do or die play for Barney. He knew he had to stay down and sweep at that ball as he made the catch, and then he tried to get a little extra on it. Watch Barney as he comes from third base, and he's going to keep his glove very low, scoop the ball, and when he throws it, it's off the mark. Smoke doesn't have a play on it. Been infield hit for Marrero and an error on Barney.
Smoke did the right thing, tried to go around that runner. We've seen too many collisions at first base when that throw takes him into the runner. And the right thing, that thing went down the right field line. Now the Blue Jays have to bring the infield in once again.
For Mookie Betts, who has walked and scored 3 times and also grounded out. Also stolen bases number 13 and 14 on the season for Betts today. Red Sox now hitting the Blue Jays 11-4.
(23-10) in the first 2 games of this 3-game series. And you know, you talk about the Red Sox scoring 5 runs. They scored 7 runs yesterday, and they haven't hit a home run in the series yet.
Threatening again. They left 17 runners on base in last night's ball game.
1-1 the count. Harrell checks the runner out at second, and the fastball in for a strike. 1-2. Giving the rest of the relievers a breather here this afternoon is Lucas Harrell. This one will bounce away, but the Red Sox won't risk it this time. I'll tell you, between behind the plate and getting hit by a pitch twice, Russell Martin's going to be all bruised up at the end of this game.
They need a couple extra ice bags at the end of this ball game. Watch where this ball bounces in front of home plate. He gets his shin guard on it. Fortunately, it didn't go any further away from him than it did, and just difficult to tell where that ball's going to go. It looked like he hit off his hand and then hit his shin guard. And you can see Betts was trying to wave Leon home, but Leon didn't feel like with no outs it was worth the risk.
The 2-2. Got him looking, says Jerry Davis for out number 1. Drive of the game brought to you by Honda. Proud fan since 1977, an official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Second inning, the Red Sox are already up by a couple of runs. Dustin Pedroia comes in against Liriano. We've seen this over the years. Takes this pitch the other way, drives it into the gap into right center field. Past Bautista for a couple of more runs. Dustin Pedroia would end up at second base with this afternoon's drive of the game.
Talk about it, guys, regardless of what the score is, if you're up 5, down 5, more than that does not give away an at bat. You hear that phrase sometimes where the game's out of hand and maybe a hitter will give away an at bat, just kind of want to get it over with. And Dustin Pedroia he just does not have that in his DNA.
In the 11th inning, after the Red Sox had scored 3 runs in the top of the 11th inning, Pedroia hit a ground ball to shortstop, and he was busting it down the line trying to beat out that double play ball. He didn't make it, but he had given everything he had trying to extend that inning even further.
Second time that he had bounced into a double play, but don't care what the score is, what the inning is, anything. Play the game the right way.
What do you think his Hall of Fame chances are if he has 5 or 6, more relatively healthy years in the second half of his career?
It's really interesting. He's a 4-time Gold Glover. I think a lot of it is going to have to do with his success as a champion, playing on World Series teams, and everybody looks at that as part of the criteria. But you think of him, he's a 300 hitter. He's a lifetime 300 hitter.
The resume is pretty stacked already. Rookie of the Year, MVP. He's going to have a pretty good chance if he stays healthy and plays a long time to get 3,000 hits.
He's going to go over 1,800 this year. He is 33. He'll be 34 in August.
He's got 4 Gold Gloves. He's got a Silver Slugger Award, as Pat mentioned, Rookie of the Year and MVP in back-to-back seasons.
He's got a shot.
Yeah.
Here's Bogaerts. And this one is going to drop into left field for a base hit and cash in a couple. Around to third comes Pedroia. Into second goes Bogart. Red Sox circling the bases and now leading 7-0.
Pedroia goes first to third on a soft single to left field, and when the Blue Jays try and get Pedroia, Bogaerts alertly moves up. Jammed. It's going to go as a 2-run single. But the best part about this play was the back end, as Pedroia goes first to third, and no chance for the Blue Jays to get Bogaerts. And now the infield once again has to come in with just 1 out.
Yeah, you just have to keep that double play in order in that situation, and obviously you weren't going to throw anybody out at third. Well, first and third, the ball wasn't that sharply hit, and that's part of the judgment you have to make when the ball is hit. Is it a line drive right at me? Okay, now I got a shot at the runner going first and third. That wasn't the case with that soft liner off the bat of Bogaerts.
Oh, and 1 the count on Hanley Ramirez, who's 3 for 4.
Well, they've done it again. You were talking, Dan, earlier. 7 runs without hitting a home run. They've done it 7 times. Make it 8.
Right. So if they don't hit a home run today, this will be the 8th time they've scored at least 7 runs without the benefit of a homer. No other team in baseball has done it more than 4 times.
It's got to be frustrating for pitchers. And the reason why is home runs. The pitch clears the bases, and it's like a reset.
Right.
But when you're double, single, walk, guys into stretch, he's always pitching out of trouble.
And John Gibbons on his way to the mound. Lucas Harrell gives the Blue Jays 8 outs today. But Gibby is out to make the move and bring in the left-hander Jeff Beliveau with 2 down here in the 9th inning. 7-0 Boston. Ninth inning at Rogers Center. Left-hander Jeff Beliveau into the game for the Blue Jays.
So Beliveau yesterday for a third of an inning, he hit a walk and had a strikeout. Just been getting more work lately for the Blue Jays out of that bullpen. Left on left situation. He'll get Jackie Bradley. He's got reverse splits also. Righties are hitting worse than the lefties against Beliveau. Jeff's been around. He's pitched with Tampa Bay in the major leagues.
So second and third, 2 down, 7-0. Jackie Bradley Jr. 1 for 4, had a 2-run double back in the first. And a belt high strike, 0-1. Liriano in 6 innings today gave up 5 runs, all earned on 7 hits. Lucas Harrell 2 2/3. Has been charged with a couple of runs and responsible for the 2 men on base right now. And now Beliveau.
Interesting splits for Jackie Bradley Jr. They make the move to bring the lefty in. You already mentioned Beliveu's numbers are reverse splits. Bradley Jr. coming into this game hitting .391 against lefty pitching compared to .250 against righties. So he has made the adjustment, and this is interesting how Blue Jays decided to go with the lefty in this situation.
Must be staying on that ball against lefties. They were throwing him a lot of breaking balls early in his career. There it is.
Good breaking ball to get him and end the inning. Red Sox add 2 more. We go bottom 9. Blue Jays coming up down 7-0. series between the Red Sox and Blue Jays at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Then the Dodgers and the Padres after the game, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific.
Saw something I haven't seen before. Two managers getting in a fight in the middle of the game.
How about that?
It was really a strange set of circumstances. Alex Wood, the Dodgers starter, was upset because he felt like the base runner at second was relaying location, and he got off the mound. And then Andy Green, Dave Roberts got into an argument. They both got thrown out.
Yeah. Roberts tried to physically get at Green. Actually got a bit of a shove in. The umpires got in the middle. I would think Roberts probably will get suspended eventually.
Yeah, and it was really curious because obviously it was about the pitcher saying, hey, don't steal my location. Well, for me, as a former catcher, it's on the catcher to protect that. If a batter or base runner at second base can give location, shame on the catcher.
And Andy Green, the manager of the Padres, took exception to the fact that Wood turned to the runner at second base and allegedly said, if you do it again, I'm going to drill you. That's what Green took offense to. And then Green said something that set Roberts off, and Roberts tried to get after him.
Well, you know what? And that's what a pitcher should say. And, you know, you want to steal signs, you could risk the chance of getting hit. That's fine. But, you know, come on. It's like, oh, he shouldn't have said that to my guy. Come on, man. Let's settle this on the field. Goodness.
The managers looked like they wanted to settle on the field.
Bobby Scott on the mound for the Red Sox, going to bottom of 9, 7-0 Boston. Steve Pearce will lead it off for the Blue Jays.
One final thought to that. The umpires put a warning in.
Right.
Don't throw at anybody now because you two guys are upset and we don't want anything to get out of hand. Really?
Pierce today 0 for 2, also hit by a pitch. Kevin Pillar, Darwin Barney scheduled after him. Blue Jays held to just 4 hits today. Chris Sale went 7 very strong innings, walked 1, struck out 11. So Sale now in 2 starts against the Blue Jays this year has thrown 15 innings, allowed 8 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 24 strikeouts.
That's pretty good.
Well, and you can see how he can be so effective. I mean, he put on a demonstration today of changing speeds, commanding the strike zone with all of his pitches, and you didn't see too many good swings from the Blue Jays all afternoon.
And it's not just the Blue Jays. He's been doing this all season long.
He's going 11-3 now.
He got 2 guys to second base in his last start against the Angels before this afternoon's game.
Pierce hits one on a line to deep left and gone. Home run number 6 for Pierce. First run of the game for the Blue Jays.
Well, that's what the fans came for. They wanted to see the Blue Jays do something dramatic. Steve Pearce homers against Robbie Scott. 3rd time that Scott's given up a home run this year. 6 home runs now for Pearce. 7-1.
Now Kevin Pillar. Pierce stays hot coming off the DL, now 14 for 29 since getting back to the active roster. One last note on Sale, by the way. It's just the 6th time in Major League history that a pitcher has had 10-plus strikeouts 11 times in the first half of the season in a team's first 81 games. Nolan Ryan did it once. He had 13. Randy Johnson 3 different years. Curt Schilling once, and now Sale. Pillar retired 1 down. It's pretty good company.
Yeah, it's a lot of strikeout pitchers, obviously, but you know, Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson, and it's a tremendous testimony to how much he has grown as a pitcher, because now he's just getting better and better. He understands the value of changing speeds, the location, and he works quickly. And he's a terrific pitcher. Probably going to start 2nd straight All-Star game for the American League.
Fans hoping the Rally Caps will bring a miracle here in the bottom of the 9th with still a 6-run deficit. The Red Sox up 7-1 on the Blue Jays. Darwin Barney, the battery's 0 for 3. talk about the phrase max effort. You hear that sometimes with pitchers. Robbie Scott looks like he's putting everything he's got into every pitch.
He's an interesting guy. He pitched at Florida State. He went undrafted, so he had to pitch in the independent leagues. Pitched out in Arizona in some of the independent leagues, and his manager was none other than Jose Canseco when he was out there. And he's got some great stories about Canseco when they were together. September call-up last year, 7 outings and didn't allow a run.
Oh, 2. Left center field, down for a base hit. Big turn, but no reason to risk anything given the score. Barney back to first with a single.
Well, he will challenge you, but that's not where you want to challenge him with an 0-2 pitch. You want to bury it or get it upstairs. Catches too much of the plate. Darwin Barney finishes it off with a single, his first hit of the afternoon.
And Gary DiSarcina, the acting manager today, with John Farrell in Kansas City, watching his son Luke make his major league debut as a pitcher for the Royals. There's Ryan Goins, who's 1 for 3. Well, the last thing that Gary DiSarcina wants to do is to have to get somebody else up who they hadn't intended on pitching today.
Yeah, they've got a game here, and then they finish out this first half of the season on the road, Texas and Tampa Bay. So they want to save as many innings as possible in their bullpen.
A couple of close pitches go the Blue Jays' way, and it's 2-0.
Drops down just a little bit more, a little sidearm to left-handers, and he's basically going to throw you a fastball and a slider. To right-handed batters, it's fastball with some arm side run and curveball. Drops down just a little bit. So stay in there.
2-1 on Goins. Travis, the first baseman, playing behind Barney, just a couple of feet behind him over at first. 7-1 Boston, bottom 9, and fouled back by Goins. 2-2.
Can't really get that ball away from Goins, and that's how Ryan's able to foul it off. That ball stayed inside. Last time up, Ryan got a base hit off of Sale to left field. 2-out single in the 7th.
That's a big glove. I don't know if that's actually helping you, though. You're not catching anything with that. You may be knocking it down or
Keep
protecting yourself.
Face, yeah.
You're not catching anything with that. Strike 3 call, 2 down.
Well, the fans have been looking for some offense. Hard to come by this afternoon, but Steve Pearce is going to get them something to cheer about. Robbie Scott throws that fastball in there. Pearce has been swinging the bat much better since coming back off the disabled list. Unloads for his 6th.
Jose Bautista, the batter, 0 for 3 with a walk. Blue Jays down to their final out. Travis now way behind Barney, who can probably take second if he wants, and there he goes, and they'll give it to him on defensive indifference. Got to be a change in the signs with a runner out at second now.
Yeah, this is the first time he's had a runner at second base after the home run by Peter, so they want to make sure they're on the same page with that. No cross-ups by any means.
Bautista pops it up. Leon is there. and makes the catch to end the ball game as the Red Sox beat the Blue Jays for the second day in a row, dropping the Blue Jays to 37-43 on the season. Chris Sale leading the way for Boston.
Well, right now Boston is a much better ball club, and you can see it in their approach at the plate. They've scored 7 runs in consecutive games on 12 hits and haven't hit a ball out of the ballpark. Chris Sale set the tone early for this ball club, and he had another double-digit strikeout game to improve to 11-3. Clearly the best pitcher in the American League right now.
Yeah, this game was about Sale. It's also about the athletes of the Boston Red Sox. They were able to rest Bogaerts yesterday and win the ball game. Today they rest Benintendi and win the ball game without their manager. They go for the sweep tomorrow. Joe Biagini is going to be on the mound for the Blue Jays, going to try and stop this losing streak.
So 2 wins in a row for the Red Sox over the Blue Jays here in Toronto. Let's send you to Blue Jays Central. Jamie Campbell, Greg Zong.
Blue Jays Canada 150 commemorative baseball giveaway day.